Here we are, Pivot Firebird 29. Long travel 29ers are kind of my love as far as mountain bikes are concerned, so right up my alley. Decided to give this one a go. It's a hell of a build kit we're sitting on. Got X01 drivetrain, Fox Float 36 with the new Grip 2 damper on the front, and Fox Float X2 on the back. Reynolds carbon wheels with Industry 9 hubs, so things the works. Flush, man, jeez. Oh, geez, yeah. Ah, this bike feels good. That was a bad line. Yeah. Dang. Well, it's a good first run for sure. All right, we're gonna take it down a little bit tougher trail. It's a black trail just called DH, so kind of get the idea, but it's got some rougher, looser bits than the other one we just rode. So, be a pretty fitting trail to put this guy on. And it's just freaking rolling. Oh, this bike. Big boy's gotta eat. Oh, it tracks the line so good. All right. Yeah, you don't even feel the freaking little compressions. Oh my gosh. On the dune, I was feeling all those little compressions so much. Not even an issue on this guy. And it pushes into these turns real nice. So stiff, like I was saying, that when a bike is like this, you can just get into them good. Yeah, I like that. Oh, that's sandy. Truck it, boy. Pop it. That was a bad line. Soaked up that compression pretty good. Definitely I'm feeling it's a little bit more difficult to redirect it quickly. Oh yeah, this is where you definitely feel it a little bit. Sags when you're trying to throw in some hard pedal strokes. Get a fair amount of pedal bob with it. riding a size large and feels pretty spot on. Oh yeah, rough line, no problem. Oh, these are loose. Take it down North Shore here real quick and see if I can navigate some of these tight turns on this guy. Yeah, do a little nose pick through there. Oh, gear was a bit too high, but all worked out. Not bad. Can handle that slow speed stuff all right, and then here it's just stable, stable, stable. Pivot Firebird, thumbs up, most definitely. Just got off the trails here at Sappee Bike Park in Finland. Finished riding the Pivot Firebird 29. I thought we'd just take a few minutes to come in here and kind of do a final impressions, final thoughts, a little bit more in depth. In particular, the Firebird's confidence at speed and through repeated hits made it a standout. I would say this is the most comfortable I've been on a bike after initial setup probably ever. Usually, especially on demos, it takes a little while to go ahead and tweak the suspension a little bit with compression and rebound settings and air pressures and things of that sort to really get it dialed in. But they basically handed me the bike, set it to my air pressures, and went with it. And it felt almost perfect. That's not to say over a long period of time I wouldn't want to dial in the suspension a little more. But I was really impressed with how good this bike felt just right off the bat without doing any of my own personalized settings on it. Now this could be chalked up to, hey, I just got really lucky and the settings were perfect for me immediately. But I think I'd rather attribute it to the fact that this bike has a really good descending platform already. I really think the Firebird 29 descends like a 162mm travel bike should. I didn't always feel like that with my previous bike on the Specialized Enduro. It felt a little nervous through rough sometimes. But as a 162mm travel bike with 29 wheels, this thing really feels like a monster on descents, at least in the hour and a half I got to spend on it. It was a really calm descending bike. The travel felt super deep and really quick to respond to compressions and other rough patches of riding. The wheels stayed really smoothly planted to the ground, even through rougher sections, and I never felt too much harshness from the rear end. This is compared to the rental bike I was riding, the Mondraker Dune, which is a 170mm travel 27.5 wheeled bike, and that bike felt quite a bit harsher through some of these same sections. A bit of specking that may have played a role in it feeling so confident on descents is the 44mm offset fork stocked on the bike. This is really similar to the SBG design on transition bikes, particularly the Sentinel, which has a 43mm offset fork, so just a millimeter of difference there. But this really just leads to calmer and more composed handling and steering. As far as geometry is concerned, I felt really good about how the bike fit. It's a 65-degree head tube angle, so nice and slack. And on the size large, I think the reach and stack numbers were pretty good. It had 475mm of reach, and I think the stack was at 623. And it fit really well. I'm about 6'2" for points of reference, but I think the bike fit pretty spot on. I think some companies are going a little too far with the reach and a little too extreme. But I feel like this was at a good intermediate, pretty progressive point. But it wasn't getting out there to unwieldy. One thing I did notice while descending on it is it definitely felt like when you were in a section and you were on a certain part of the trail, it was pretty hard to get in and out of lines or jump over different parts of the trails quickly. And this could be chalked up a little bit again to the lower offset fork, because while it does relate to calmer and more confident steering, it does also mean that it's going to be a little bit slower in responding to turning. However, as my time progressed on the bike and I got a little more time on it, I think I adapted to it a bit and was figuring out how to handle it on the trails a bit quicker and a bit snappier. So I think with some time on the bike, that's something you'd get used to and figure out. Interestingly enough, even though I definitely felt a little bit difficulty with the quickness of the bike or getting to different lines with it, it jumped and popped really well. The suspension felt super poppy and playful. Jumps were easy, and even just bunny hops and parking lot jibs and things of that sort felt a lot easier than a lot of other similarly traveled bikes. So that's pretty surprising, especially with how deep and plush that travel on the Firebird feels. Unfortunately, I didn't have time or a chance to take this bike on anything other than just lift access trails. So I didn't get a super good overview of how it pedals on kind of undulating or varying terrain trails. But with that being said, I did get to do a few short climbs on it and just get a feel for it pedaling. All things considered, I think it pedals and climbs pretty well. Stocked with a 170mm travel front fork and 162mm of travel in the rear, it is a really big bike. But it's also pretty light. It was considerably lighter than my Pro Carbon Enduro 29. With that, don't be fooled into thinking that it'll be overly fun or effortless in climbs or on flat ground pedaling, but it's capable enough to get the job done. It's clear, however, that it's designed for all-out descents, and if you don't have a lot of those around you, I'm not sure this is quite the right bike for you to be looking at. Something a little more balanced would probably suit you better. I think if you wanted to categorize this bike, you could categorize it as all-out enduro, leaning towards the side of really also like park and downhill riding sort of bike. It is definitely in the gravity category squarely. And again, from my slight impressions of the pedaling, and you'd get a better idea of people that got to pedal it around a bit more, it's good enough, but it doesn't excel at it. And there's bikes that are decently long travel, maybe a little less travel than this, that definitely pedal better, namely the Santa Cruz High Tower LT. Now this one I rode was the X01 Pro build, so I think you're looking at like $7,000 plus. So of course it was a really fancy build, but I think it was pretty clear from riding it that this bike was more than just the sum of its parts. The frame and overall suspension design, they really hit something right with it as well. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to see some more videos like this. Hit notifications if you want to keep up with everything I'm posting. That'll be it. See you guys real soon. Stay shreddy, my friends.